What's happening? Couples, the way they came out there here. Kitty games. I don't sit right in this chair, do I? I thought in there. I'm able to lean back in it though. That's really all I like about it. I got the cat cam plugged back in. See Yume's hump there. And today we're going to be bug hunting. I talk about my posture because my neck's still messed up. I got an appointment at 3:30 today. It's doing a lot better though. Last week I was not getting like any sleep and in pain and whatnot. Adomo. But yeah, it's doing a lot better. I'm still getting it work done 3 days a week because it does hurt, but I can sleep now at least, so that's a big difference. But yeah, I want to go through and try to follow up on as many bug reports as possible today. Mike Bob being our most prolific bug reporter. Beep Jan. Hey. 猫カム復活しました。何がしたいねん。紹介しようか。So, looks like there's quite a few here that were added just a couple weeks ago. I've been so caught up on doing skills and mostly just skills that I have not really spent much time going through these recently. So thought I'd make a day to do that. Video settings because the previous settings of the game just started. One thing too, I would really prefer vastly that we get the skills, the beta branch to a point where I can push that live, because there's such a gap between those two builds right now that making changes to one, basically I have to go in and manually make changes to the other one, unfortunately. There is not a lot of contingency, is that the word I'm looking for, between the two at the moment, because I've made so many changes to the interface and whatnot. But so let us see. We want to double check settings UI. We're talking about the cursor, crosshair, it's called crosshair transparency, game setting, crosshair transparency. Updates and whatnot, fine, but is it not saving properly? Settings, data holder, crosshair transparency exists. It tries to grab it when it saves, and it tries to load it when it loads. However, this may not be loading properly. Let's double check. This is our setup function that gets called when we're loading the game. We add the input, we set it to say that it's set to this. But is there anything that actually ever sets it during load? Does not look like it. So basically we want to make sure that we call this update crosshair. This is using the loaded value, not the UI value. So if we just give this a call after the game has been set up, we should be fine. Crosshairs right here. Update crosshair, that should fix that. Let's give it a test, even though that's not very exciting. Just to, make sure. Tabi-chan. It is Tuesday morning over here in Japan. It's cold, but I think it'll heat up nice today. I had some weird dreams. I had to go fishing to get food for my wife and I, and didn't have any bait. She was like, why don't you just kill some spiders and use them as bait? It was like giant spiders in these temples nearby us. It's like, I don't want to touch those. I think it's gameplay, video. It's the game windows scaled down so much when I'm working on it in the editor. It's kind of hard to look at, to be honest. Crosshair transparency. So I'm going to turn that down enough to where I can tell that it is indeed gone quite gray. And we'll reload to double check, and assuming that worked, I will resolve it. Thank you. Resolved for next patch. Next up. In beta, can't drag and drop the deconstruct button onto toolbar. I think I already fixed this. That was a very short-term bug on a specific patch. But we'll double check. Crosshair transparency is properly gray, not white, so that should be fine. Skills, general, deconstruct. Interesting. Attack works. Deconstruct does not. Okay, that is a problem. Let's see. Done with you. As long as I'm here, let's update this. We need to get a patch out today. Lots of changes have not been added in yet recently. What were we doing? Deconstruct skill. Now, do I have a skill template for that under general? I do. It is general, normal. Should be non-upgradable, shouldn't it? Yeah. So that fixes that. Thank you. Fixed for next batch. Water cave. Basic resources not harvestable. Double check that this maintained that it did. I believe I'm at a lava cave right now. I'm not sure that well, I'm sure I'll have one on the map regardless. Let's try a lava cave as well though. Dead bean. What are you doing? I don't have magic undies on, but I can still run in and see if I can't just hit a rock somewhere. No? No rocks? That worked. Let's get out of here. Better go try and find a water cave though. I probably have one. Yeah, I got one. I gotta go get cat food too. Cats are gonna start eating me soon. Freezing cold. Not good. Yeah, it does look like it's not harvestable. It's interesting. What happened there? Let's just go look right at the prefab. If I can figure out what it is, where it is. Maybe not. Ice boulders. These guys are harvestable basic resources. Something about them isn't happy though. Layer default. These should be on the resources layer, shouldn't they? I think that is going to be our problem. Let's update that and double check again. These are physics layers that the player will attempt to interact with. Specifically ignoring other layers to make the calculations a lot faster. You specify that it wants to look at the physics resource layer, but it wasn't doing that. That's working now. Let's again get out of here. So die. Thank you, Mike Bob. Crasks cannot be looted. This might be another layer problem. Monster Crask is on the mob layer. It's got a capsule collider. I'm in game. How do I make myself some fancy underwear? I guess I can do something else, huh? This should at least keep me from dying. Oh, no. Just kidding. I think I'm gonna have to make myself some fancy underwear real quick. Let And there we go. Fancy underwear. I'm gonna go ahead and save. Get back to the water cave. It might be an animation problem where this is what the ghosts were doing, where like I don't use root animation, so if the mob does this like flurry twist, jump, now I'm dead over here kind of thing, sometimes they move away from where the actual collider was. I don't have my sound on. Eey. My finger hurts. There's a Krask. Did I think I messed up my controls when I... that's messed up too. Dang it. I made specific ascend, descend buttons, and then looks like I made these. Yeah, ascend should be spaced. Descend is... Oh, and I have to hold it down, don't I? Okay, now I'm choking. I don't think I've ever tried to shoot something underwater. Is that a thing? Yeah, I hit him. Wow. That's kind of silly, but why not? So, yeah, I'm not Not seeing any sort of interaction options, am I? Where he at? Baby John. Baby John. Baby John. Baby John. Mob layer has a collider that's a bit above him. Interactable drop is not turned on. And I'm not seeing any interaction here. So why would that? Is it just the prefab has been turned off accidentally for this guy? Monster drop, interactable. I don't think so. Those should be off by default. Is there a reference missing? Baby John. What are you doing? Stop. Cat being difficult. This is the aquatic AI script, isn't it? It's not the default monster AI. Am I missing something here? Harvestable animal, none. Okay, that's true. He is an animal, isn't he? The rest of these are monsters. Krask is not an animal. They're monsters. So no, that's fine being null. Animal type is null. There's more settings underneath here that I'm looking at, but what is he not firing that for? Better open it up and take a look. So we're looking for interactable drop, which may be found in the parent script. Interactable. This is avoid on death if server. Turn it on. Good and fine. Is he not calling death? Public override void. If health is less than 0, dead equals true. Yeah, he is not calling death, which we need him to. I suppose he's the only aquatic monster, isn't he? So that does make him specific in this regard. I gotta keep my neck up. Keep the mic right in front of my face so I don't lean forward. Is this going to be a problem if aquatic animals call this? It is, isn't it? So Currently we're assuming that these are animals. If it's null, get it. Then if it's not null, do all of this. Move it to the miscs, that's fine. However, what we really want to do is if animal type is not equal to animal type null, since he is an animal, then we want to do all this. Otherwise, we want to go ahead and call death. And this should be protected. So the inheriting script can also make use of it, like so. That should fix that. We also had some text in the key binding UI that was out of place. Let's go fix that so we don't forget about it. We can turn the mask off, and it's this button here. Reset controls, correct. I wonder if he just got dragged out of that for some reason. Sometimes I move all of these inside one of these so that I can move them all together, because you can't set the settings, tell all of them minus 30. You have to. Hiyo. Seven. Seven. カフェがつってどこ行くの？高倉までこれつってないからね。気をつけてね。Just want to make sure that this is not a raycast target. As you can see, it is not here, so the text doesn't interfere with the button script code there. Turn our mask back on. Turn the group off. Close the window. And turn loading UI back on. Save, exit. And we're good. And let's go double check that we can now kill the Krask, or rather loot the Krask. While we're letting it load, I'll go ahead and just type this out. Click confirm once it's confirmed. Go away, you bother me. こっちから。はい、パル。And now I can interact with him properly, though a error has occurred. What are you doing? Come to see me. Type. Aquatic Eye has been destroyed, but we're still trying to access it. Invoke RPC, enable interactable drop. That is having a problem because we've destroyed this on Aquatic AI, whereas on Monster we're not actually doing that, are we? Or is it here that we're doing that? Get component enabled, no. Death, where was death? Death. Server, report, open loot. Do we have destroyed this anywhere? Not sure that's necessary. I don't think we do on the Monster AI anywhere. If he's dead, what we want to worry about is update. But if we're dead, we're not going to do anything. So, there's no reason to do this. Is there a reason to do it if we are an animal? I don't think so, but let's double check. Entities, animal AI, these are aggressive animals. Likewise, yeah, they're just making use of Monster AI update. They do have this though. What's the matter? Meow meow. One of your bowls is empty, isn't it? You're gonna yell at me non-stop till I go buy you some more food, isn't it? Poor kitty. Only one bowl of food. So sad. You go sit on the cat cam. Burn to the mic. I think basically we just want to go ahead and let's move this logic up. You're sitting right on the keyboard, cat. You can't do that. Basically, this is animal specific. I'm not sure if we need that or not. So if it is an animal, we're doing all the animal logic. We're going to destroy the script after we handle that. Otherwise, we're going to go back to the monster script. That should fix the error that we saw. But to be safe, we do want to try it out again. And cats are in stalk mode. I'm not sure if they see a bird or another cat or what. Never a dull moment. Actually, there are plenty dull moments when they all fall asleep, but when they're awake, it's rarely a dull moment. These guys are going to aggro on me again, but I'm just going to run past them. Let's go get this guy. Okay, that works fine. And the air actually covers up the... hello, good sir. The monster drop interact there. That's a bummer. To be honest. I just fell through the world. Wow. Haven't seen that in a long time. And again. What's going on here? I think I have had some people report this. Are we stuck in a world shift loop? No. What's going on? I'm so confused. Why did it not? I'll wait till I land and do that a few more times. I'm actually going to... No fall damage is nice. Gave myself some breathing potions. Gonna drink one of those. Stuck. It's moving me a little bit. That's interesting. Stuck. Why was it freaking out? It looked like it despawned everything there. A couple times. You can see over here the starter area terrains. There they have unloaded. I'm gonna go home. Successfully. Confused how I was able to fall through the ground. It should not be a thing. Might want to go to... No, yeah, we're way out here. 36 kilometers away. I did use teleport home instead of the Solace teleport, but it shouldn't be any different. I want to say that was fluke, but if it can happen once, it it can happen again. And I'm not sure how that happened. We're here to bug hunt, so we would like to fix that, given the opportunity, but don't know the cause. It's darn near impossible to fix. When you teleport, it loads. Oh, I bet I know what it was. Let's follow that trail. So when you, let's see, player mover, la 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 la, recall, the main thing that's going to happen is where is it? There it is. Procedural watcher teleport. Now, this calls spawn immediate area. Excuse me. Meow meow. There's Pee-Pee. Hey, you man. There's you man. This, as it suggests, spawns the immediate area around the player. However, while the procedural watcher is constantly running, as long as the game is open, it is, one of the things that it's doing is creating a list of terrains that need to be despawned. Now, I believe what happened is it probably had those already in the to despawn list when I teleported back home, and so it spawned them. Probably didn't even need to spawn them because they were already spawned, but since they were already in the despawn list, as soon as I loaded in, it despawned them right away, or very promptly. So one way that we would want to do that, the cancellation token is getting fired, which is going to stop any threads that are running. Then we call spawn immediate area. Basically, we should be clearing. Okay, I'm on this line. We should be clearing our terrains to despawn list to be safe. Right? I know right about where I am. I would like to select this guy just to be safe. Yeah, there's no mention of him going on here. That's the loop thread. This is the spawn immediate area bit. Terrain queue, check for duplicates. Make sure they aren't set up to despawn. Do I already have that being checked? Large terrains. Well, I guess we better look at this properly. Spawn immediate area. Small terrains are going to be our distant terrains. That's all good and fine. That's just visual. AKA chunks. Large terrains are our nearby ones. Two player terrain. Terrain queue. We're going to grab the terrain that the player is currently on. We're going to determine what corner of that terrain it's closest to and add the 4 terrains nearest that corner for spawning. We're going to find and remove all properly spawned terrains, so if they're already active, we don't need to respawn them. We're going to go back through the queue again, look for duplicates, which we're not. Make sure they aren't set up to despawn by going through the entire terrains to despawn count, and if the X and the Y are the same, we're going to remove them from the despawn list so that they don't do what I was suggesting that they might be doing. So it should already be handling that. So that kind of defeats my idea there. And honestly, when we went in and we killed the Krask, and then we came back out, did I teleport from within? Maybe that's what it was? Maybe we need to try that. Was I in the cave when I teleported home? This defeats my theory there, though. Make sure they aren't set up to spawn, because we are going to spawn them. Areas, likewise. I haven't really been sleeping super awesome because my neck hurts. It's way better than last week, though. Like, I couldn't move. Like, once you lay down, it's like you forward, left, right, backwards, anything is your neck. And it was just like, the middle of the night. Not fun. I can totally move normal and fine now. It just hurts. Teleporting home. Okay, I tried to pause it real quick there, but that worked fine. How do we recreate what we just ran into? And I was even like stuck in a loop there. Whoa, 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 whoa. What happened? It just despawned the terrain. See, that was my theory. Why did that happen? I'm standing on it. I'm walking over here. I am not shifted funkily. These guys likewise are not shifted. But it just despawns 0, 0. So it's not... I don't think it's the teleport logic. Spawn immediate. We just double checked here. That had already fired. That's actually not threaded, so this is something that happens immediately. The next frame won't begin until this is finished. So we finished teleporting. We were standing there. A few seconds went by before the terrain despawned. But still, if those were in the queue, we should have removed them. And in order for them to get added into the queue after that, this guy needs to fire. Where is the procedural watcher? He is currently large spawning. Looks like he is. Why did he despawn though? It's close everything down, go into debug mode. Terrains to despawn is empty. Terrains to spawn has one left, but he should quickly realize that, yeah, that's not enough. Now he's frantically trying to respawn the rest of them. But why did he get rid of them in the first place? And then I tried to recall home several times. No, I did stuck, didn't I? Stuck works. And me having this clicked on is going to really slow down the editor. You can see my frame rate's really bad. So and I'm going to let him finish. You can see what he's doing here. And I think that means he's done now. World shift. He's just going to loop through things a bit and make sure everything's spawned properly, and it is. If I go to the water cave, it's going to immediately spawn the surrounding area, and I have been basically just running straight into the cave, so we'll go ahead and do that. And I believe that that's going to pause him. He's in generation state ended right now. So these terrains are still active in the game, but if we go and we look chunks to despawn, we don't care about. Looking at terrains to despawn. So he's basically got every terrain that we've got active back at the starting area in his terrains to despawn list, including 00. I think that's where we go when we teleport home, is 00. Or it's one of these with the 0 on it. So now I'm going to do that. Oh, my recall is on cooldown. Here we go. Recall. Come on. Recall. I'm going to pause it real quick. And yeah, he only has marked for despawn now those distant swamp terrains. You can see these are Z35, 34. So that's the ones outside the cave. So those have been properly reset. Now, well, is it going to do it again? I'm just standing here. Again, the frame rate's really low, so I need to let it go for a second while I'm watching it here. No. Well, it's still just doing area spawning. The despawn triggered properly. Oh, yep, see there, it just turned one of these off. I never saw it even go into terrain to despawn though. Why would it do that? Just up and turned one of them off completely. I wonder if there was an area to despawn that cascaded all the way up to... Did it even turn the chunk off? Is that what we're looking at? That's very odd. There are some methods within the procedural watcher here that, for example, PB-chan, stop doing that. Keeps trying to bury my coffee filter and knocking stuff all over the floor. For example, when, let me see, update cues. There are some things, I don't think chunks do it. Let's go look at a terrain. When you turn off a terrain, for example, that's the cue, that's the generate. There's get, self-destructing. So if we're going to turn off a terrain, it's going to go through and it's going to make sure all the areas are turned off. So I wonder if it's the chunk. Actually, let's look at that. Here's large terrains. Here is chunk self-destructing. So if a chunk is marked for turning off, it's going to go through and self-destruct any terrains that are assigned to it. So I wonder if we actually should have been watching chunks to despawn. Yeah, this list is actually full of these. PP, can you please stop doing that over and over? What is the deal? What is the deal? Is that your secret spot there? It's a busy day. Sorry for all the interruptions. So yeah, this is the problem right here, isn't it? Chunks to spawn. I think basically just our spawn immediate area bit is properly handling terrains, but it's not properly handling chunks, which are basically small terrains. So let's go through this logic as well. We just went through the large terrain logic. We're going to figure out which one we are on. We're going to figure out the corner. We're going to make sure this worked. Random spam in chat. I can get rid of that. Anyway, we're going to find and remove any that are already spawned properly. We're going to go through the terrain queue, make sure they aren't set up to despawn. But if they're already marked to be spawned, If they are spawned, we're removing them from the queue. After that, we're looking to make sure that they are not marked to despawn by going through the queue that we just removed them from. So we actually need to reorganize this, don't we? We need to go through, make sure they aren't set up to despawn, and make sure that they are not set up to spawn first, but not this here. Let's see. We're going through the terrain queue. Can I squeeze this into here? Spawned chunks. We are going through plus plus. Would turn it into 3 loops if I changed this, even though they're only like 15. It's not anything that's costing us performance necessarily. Or I could change this to be going backwards, remove and continue. I could also alter the eye as I move, which is just sounds kind of dangerous. For example, since we're already looping through here, we're not going to do that a second time. We're going to use S or whatever for this. Looks like everybody's using C. We'll stick to that, I guess. CCC. Replace all the T's with C. Nope. We want to replace all the I's with C. These are going to be I. And we've actually already got this referenced as stq dot x, and you are spawn chunk C. stq dot y spawn chunk C. Remove at I. Now if we do that, our count is going to get smaller, and the list is basically, we're going to be pulling 1 out of the list, and everything behind it is going to come backwards. So if we are at I0 and we find what we're looking for and we remove it, I0 is now going to be different. So I don't like doing it this way. Like we could do I minus minus and then continue, because when we call continue, this logic is going to fire and we're going to add 1 to I. So we're actually going to remove 1 from I to go back to -1, for example, and then it will come back to 0. So that should technically be logically sound, but I've actually never done that, and it just kind of sounds scary to me. If we've got 10 in the list and we're at number 10 and we go remove number 10, set it to number 9, and then it goes to here and we go to number 10 and it finds that there is no number 10, we're going to end the loop. There shouldn't be any way for this to cause problems. It's just something I've never done before. The alternative way to do this, of course, as I mentioned, would be to do loop through all of these, then loop through all of these, then loop through all of these. And that would be 3 loops, but it would still be a nanosecond. And would not require me to be doing things like this. So I think that that is actually what I'm going to do. Again, tiny performance loss, but what'll help me sleep better, basically. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do this as well. Okay, so this is for, again, the distant terrains. We've got the queue first. We're making sure that they are not set up to despawn by removing them from that list if they are. Making sure that they are not set up to spawn by removing that list, moving them from that list if they are. We are then using the unmodified list, small terrain queue, to judge if they are already spawned or not, and remove them if they are already spawned and not needing to be spawned. And then we're going to go through and force spawn the ones that have not. So, because, yeah, the problem was, because they were marked for spawning here, but then found to have already been spawned, they were getting removed from the list, preventing this logic from firing, or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Because here we've got them in the chunks to despawn list. And we want to go through and make sure that they aren't set up to despawn. And now we're doing that. So it should be good. Just want to make sure that we also do that down here, because this is probably got the exact same problem. Maybe even areas, we'll look at that. So check for duplicates. Make sure they aren't set up to despawn or spawn. Yeah, we need to do this guy first, followed by revisiting the queue like so. So we've got the unmodified queue, checking for duplicates, checking for duplicates. That's just going to give me an error, not actually do anything. That's fine. And seems unnecessary. I probably had a problem with that once a long time ago. And again, nanosecond. A fraction of a nanosecond to do that, so it's fine. Okay, that should be better. Let's make sure areas aren't doing something similar. Find and remove all properly spawned areas. Once again, this wants to go later than sooner. So we're going to move it down here. I don't think I need all of these, but let us see. Area terrain, I guess we do. Local area, AQ is used to generate those. Okay, fine. So that will fix the logic governing that stuff. Now let's give it a test. Because that's a pretty big bug. The ground you're standing on vanishes. That's no good. I should be writing this stuff down too. I'm going to forget what I have been doing. Which I already have done. What did we do? Crosshair opacity settings. Not reloading properly. Fixed. Water cave basic resources not being harvestable. Fixed. Crask not being properly lootable. Deconstruct button. Fixed. Deconstruct skill button not properly dragging to the hotbar. Fixed bug causing terrains to improperly despawn after teleporting, causing players to fall through the world. And let's see if we can't reconfirm that. It's really annoying how the mouse is affected by frame rate here. It's been a long-standing problem. They even got in touch with Unity about that. And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. And then there was like 30 other people that were like, I have the same problem. Procedural watcher. Chunks to despawn is set to 0. We spawned right in on that cave though, didn't we? We're probably going to want to go over there. We want our chunks to despawn list to update like that. Oh god, the frame rate. Hold on, I can't do it while I'm looking at this. And we'll go inside. And now the procedural watcher has paused, but he's still got these in his despawn list, right? So that was our problem. These are marked to despawn. Now I'm going to wait for my recall to cool down. Which, if I want that to happen faster, I should not be staring at this. Would be nice if we had a number system on here, isn't there? What is the recall cooldown? I don't remember. What's the matter, PB? What's the matter? Why so? Hi. Why are you knocking my coffee over? Pushing stuff around. Your little broken tail. I feel like I just had recall refresh really recently, but I don't actually remember what the cooldown is. There it goes. Okay. So we're looking at the watcher. we can see our chunks to despawn is populated. We're going to recall, and chunks to despawn still has that in it. These are dangerous. Is it going to do it? If those fire, it's going to despawn where we are. The scroll bar is moving, so it's doing things. I think it's spawning areas right now. I don't think the frame rate is actually going to affect that either. It's just out there, terrains to despawn or despawning. There we go. Chunk has despawned. Okay, so this still did not get cleared properly. Spawn immediate area. We set up our terrain queue, including the 4 that we're standing on. So that's in the terrain queue. We went through that. We made sure that they aren't set up to despawn. Chunks to despawn. Apparently that did not work, because this did not get cleared. 0, -1. That was all that we were trying to do, was get those out of there. How come this didn't fire? Small terrain queue should have properly got populated. We went through the queue. We made sure that they aren't set up to despawn. Chunks to despawn. We're going through in reverse so that we don't skip over any. But apparently we did not find them, because they were there the whole time. So let's just go ahead and add something like debug.log. I was a happy kitty sitting on my lap. stq.x, and then we'll do stq. PP looks at me when I stop petting him. He's like, "Are we done here? How come? Why aren't you petting me? What's the deal?" Small terrain with these numbers has been added to the queue, so we know that we're getting the proper numbers when this fires. And then we're going to go through here and let's see if I really only want to do this once, so I'm just going to set up a little bool. First equals true. After our first loop, we're going to say first equals false. And up here, we're going to say if first. Actually, down here. Wait, chunks to despawn. Yeah, no, it's this guy. Hi, baby, how are you doing? I think actually what I want to do is this. First equals false right here. And then if first, I want it to do another debug log of current chunk to despawn. Present We will call this ctd.x, chunk x, and ctd.chunk z. Let's get that compiling. So when we teleport home and this fires, we're going to make our queue. It's going to tell us everything we've got in the queue. I kind of want to actually, whoops. I kind of want to just go ahead and do this once right here. To be honest, just for clarity purposes, so it prints these all out for me once, and then once we go into this check here, it'll print them out here. Yeah, so get that recompiling again. I think I need another cup of coffee. Beepy. So we're going to need to, let's not use our recall here. Let's just go home, teleport home. We can see that stuff is firing. I'm going to go ahead and let this finish what it's doing by making sure this stuff goes away. So there the chunks are cleared. The sections are spawning. That should be good. Now I'm going to teleport back and run right into the cave. This has paused the procedural watcher, and we should find that he's got a bunch of stuff to despawn marked up properly. And I'm going to teleport home with recall, and we should find that it removed them from chunks to despawn, but it didn't. But it looked like it did. Current chunk to despawn present, found all of those, good. Small terrain, 0, 0 added to queue. 0, -1, -1, 0, -1, -1. I guess, let's see, so 0, 0, current chunk to despawn present, 0, 0. There it is, position 0. We were doing that backwards, weren't we? We were. So it found it. Zero, zero, 0, 0. Current chunks to despawn present 0, 0. Noticed it. And there should be a 0, 0 in our queue. So these two should match up properly and should have been removed. Am I missing something really simple here? Small terrain queue. Chunks to despawn, remove at C. Right. What now? Why is this not firing? Chunks to despawn at position C. If the X is the same as the one that we're currently looking at, X and Y. Y is the Z in case anybody's wondering, just because this is only an XY holder into, that's not a problem. But it seems like this is not firing for some reason. If the X is the same and the Z are the same, we should be removing it from the chunks to despawn list at position C. That all looks good and fine. Let's get it compiling so we can print this debug out too. This is an integer, right? Yeah. So if we don't get these removed from the despawn list, we're going to keep having those problems. I don't think I really have to wait around here, to be honest. As long as the chunks are active. And they are. 0, 0 being the main one we're watching there. Yeah, I can go ahead and unload some of those, no problem. Back to the water cave, run right inside. Pause the watcher. Okay. Now let's look at it. It's got these in its despawn list, right? As expected. And then when we teleport home, we are expecting that to get cleared, but then it's getting repopulated. It looked like it got cleared once there, didn't it? And we are firing remove. So what's going on? Something is repopulating this. Okay. So you're not our problem, sir. I'll go ahead and leave you for now. Find and remove all properly. Let's see. Chunk to despawn. This is the list that they're getting added back into, so we can look at that. Not being mentioned here. You're being cleared here. I think this is like the only way that we can get that though. So let's put a debug log there. Something is calling update chunk queue too quickly, kind of a thing. This is our spawn immediate area script here, right? Method. And at the end of this, we are going to engage the watcher. But the first thing that he should do is not that stuff. but I believe he's going to go right into update queues, which would update chunk queue eventually, like I think it's doing. For some reason, the player... Oh. This uses the distant camera position, which might need a frame to catch up. Might be the problem. We need one frame, because this follows the player in late update, I believe it is. Which isn't necessarily a whole frame away, but it'll be called after all of this logic has fired once, I think is our problem. Let's get this firing as well. We're not in batch mode, we're not faking. We're looking at the player position. Yeah, let's get that compiling and look at that. I think that that is our problem. So basically the camera that follows the player, there's two of them. One is your close-up world camera. The other is the distant world camera that draws the mountains and the biomes and stuff in the background. There's a number of reasons why you can't have those be one camera. And it follows the player, which means it wants the player to move first. So it actually follows the player with delayed logic. And I think it's using that position immediately after teleporting. So the camera itself actually hasn't even caught up yet. The player gets moved, and within that whole stream of logic, before the camera has fired its update method, the player is trying to calculate which chunks need to be marked for despawning, and since it's using the old distant camera logic, or position, I could say, we're getting problems. So let's check that out. My theory, anyway. Chunks. We'll go ahead and let these settle down a little bit. There they go. You can see the chunk queue has been updated with the player at 0, 0. I'm now going to teleport away. Target set position. Chunk queue marking player at 0344. That looks correct. But let's go inside. So everything's paused. Let's go ahead and clear the console. We've still got 0, 0 here. And I'm going to teleport home. Now, it's still in there. That's a problem. What happened in the console? Cave self-destruct. Small terrain 0, 0 added to queue. Current chunk to despawn 0, 0 found. Removing. Updating chunk queue. Using the player's old camera position. So that is indeed our problem. Updating the chunk queue is fine, but the camera position is incorrect. So we need to force fire the distant camera's update logic in the event that we want to, I suppose, in the event that we have moved the player, which would be right here. This is, yeah. This logic is making use of the player position, spawn immediate area, using the client position itself. That's all good and fine. However, another way to do this would be to not use the distant camera at all, which is kind of what's going on right here. We are using this, but we're just dividing it by 8,000, which is basically the difference between a terrain and a chunk. That's a power of 2. 1048. I was going to count them out, but I don't remember them all actually. 20, 48, 5, something. 4096, 2048, 1024, 512, 256, you know, that whole jazz. So anyway, our solution is to either update the camera immediately upon teleportation or not use the camera position at all. Honestly, it would be easier to just not use the camera itself. That seems like a bit flawed of logic, to be honest. So we're going through the this is when we're not a server. We're going to go ahead and use ourself. And that's really the only problem, isn't it? The rest of these are actually using their transform position properly. So it's only single player and or host. It's only the local player that's causing problems because they're using the distant camera. So basically we want to change this to not use the distant camera. Where are we even getting? I've got a stored reference to that, is that what you're telling me? Huh. Well, that seems a bit silly when we've got the player. You know, I understand why I did that, but let's not. Don't want to do that. We're just going to use player. So this is our local player dot position dot x, and again we want to divide this by 8192, and then we're going to subtract the current world shift from that. Likewise, this guy we want to, because this is his world position, and we want the small world position. And that should work fine. So I'm just going to comment this out for the moment. And let's get that recompiling, and we can test it out. And I think that will fix our problem. If I can show you the distant camera script. You can see here in late update, it's just updating itself to mimic the player camera. But late update is actually not going to be called until this logic is all fired once. So that is a problem. But this should fix that, since we're just not going to use that anymore. We're going to go ahead and straight up use the player logic. I wonder if this is one of the bugs listed anywhere. go home one more time. Wanted to start singing Daft Punk there, but refrained. I actually did that in karaoke once. Big mistake. Japanese karaoke is Japanese karaoke, unfortunately. They don't have very much Western songs at all. You know, it's just like a library. There's the Japanese karaoke libraries, and then there's the American karaoke libraries if you go to a bar or karaoke place in America. So they don't have any of the songs that I want to sing, but they have like Beatles and, you know, old stuff, basically, and pop that I have no knowledge of. So one time I just got tired of singing Beatles and random songs from the 70s, you know, and I sang One More Time by Daft Punk and realized that's the whole song. One more time. One more time. One more time. Went on for about 4 minutes and I felt pretty silly. We've got it present. I'm going to recall. I'm going to pause, and we can see that it now has properly removed itself, and it is updating using the player position properly. So that is a big win there. Fixed a bug causing terrains to improperly despawn after teleporting, causing players to fall through the world. Fixed. Alright. So we just want to turn off that variety of debugs that we turned on, and let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we've got some more debugs, and it was good to update this logic too. It's definitely positioned better now. So I don't need this first logic stuff anymore. That was just for testing. We don't need you, and we don't need this whole loop. That was just, right? That was just for the debug. Yeah, so 3 loops, yeah, okay. Should be good. All right, moving on. Where were we? Crass corpses, good. Mobs in lava caves stuck under floor behind walls. That's a difficult one. I'm aware of what is probably causing that. I'm going to not do that at the moment. Let's see if we can find some quicker ones, as there's a bit more on the list here. Character held tool bug, graphical. When a player character is running third-person view with an unsheathed tool in hand, the tool passes through the character's body with each stride shaken. Yeah, this is annoying. It is minor. This does not occur with the skinning knife because it's so tiny. I tried to kind of get into this once with inverse kinematics, but I don't think that is ultimately. And I actually asked some people online too and didn't really get a good response. Long story short, there are some ways that I could go about this, definitely. It's either use a script approach or an inverse kinematics approach. Is one more performant than the other? Not necessarily. It's primarily the running animation. I could add some animation events to trigger rotation. Player run speed is going to affect that, while the players should be able to make clear note of that, though, since we've got a direct reference to the animator. And that does bother me, especially when the sword is like going right through your torso as you run the whole time. So I would like to fix this. It's just kind of a weird, niche, specific thing that I've never had to deal with. Thinking if I can script it. Let's do... We've got some animation event interrupts here already, don't we? I believe. On animator IK. Yada yada yada. None of this. Put down, receive, spin slash. Lots of questions. Do I want to add it just into this script here? Probably do. This is on the player. What am I thinking of though? Footsteps is what I'm thinking of. That's audio. And these are, I forget if these need to be public or not, is kind of what I'm curious about primarily. Step left walk. These are public voids. I do believe that that is necessary. So let's just do a test here. Public void, let's see. We're going to want 2 of them at least. Let's say passing right hand What's up, Meanie? How you doing? I got my YouTube window open here. It's hard to get the cats in the cat cam. Multiple cats. Good look at Yume though. It's my girl kitty. Hi. Come for the cats. Understandable. Public void. Right hand. So like when I move my my right hand backwards, I want to rotate it outward, basically. And then when I'm moving it forward, I can slowly rotate it back to how it was normally. So I'm going to make the animation points be all the way up and all the way down, I guess. Right hand forward and right hand backwards. And I'll let that compile. And I'm going to need to add animation events. I don't think we need that on the bow. I might want to name these one-handed. Something I don't get into often, but let's see. Character, player. Let's open the animator. Super confusing. Armed tree. When we are walking forward. Walk, equip, front. Is that... Am I still in debug here? I am. What's this guy? Walk, equip, front. Okay, so I think this is our... Ooh, why is he playing at 1x, 0.1x? That's weird. It's actually run though, isn't it? Yeah, it's not walk. It's this guy. Run equip. So right? I'm not getting that wrong, am I? Ranged, armed, harvesting tree is just, yeah, he's got this too. What's his run? His run is humanoid run. Yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of. What is the armed run? These are two different animations I'm going through here. Stop. Close. Let's expand this up. Standard assets, character, third person character, default run being used when you've got your tools out. Walk forward. I think does it as well. I know this run definitely does it. I'm surprised that the armed tree and the harvesting tree are using different runs, but I guess that's not unexpected. This is when you're in combat mode, really. It's not armed, it's combat. So when you're out of combat, you default back to the idle tree. And the idle tree is using the same run, right, as harvesting. Yeah, so this is the main one that we want to change here. Or, since this guy just kind of sucks, this is a standard asset provided by Unity. Let me look at, I'll leave that one open. Gonna close all these things that are open. Dynamic sword anim set, you're coming soon. Not yet, sir. Crafting animations, no. We want the RPG character animation pack. And unarmed. I think this is basically, though, unarmed run forward. That's roll forward, sorry. Run forward. Yeah, I really don't like this one, to be honest. He does this kind of hop. You can't even see it, can you? There you go. It does, I don't like that bob that he does. It's like, who runs like that? I think that's kind of the main reason I don't use this. But I'll bet his arms would look better. Let's just try it. Let's see what it looks like. I'm just going to replace the... What are we at? We're on the idle tree, which is what we want. Harvesting tree would be the same, but we'll go ahead and do idle for now. So I'm going to replace the run script, or run animation with that one. Let's see what it looks like. Unarmed run forward. Let's take a peek at that. I'm pretty sure I've tried this and I don't like it, but it'll definitely make the hand movements look better, I think. Let's see. Maybe one of those sword packs I bought has one too. I need to get that second coffee going. So, yeah, see now, it does look better, honestly. I don't, like I say, I don't like the, it's like bounding. The hand. Am I sticking it in my face, actually? Okay, so this is combat, and that looks fine, right? But let's get out of combat. Get out of combat. No, I don't wanna. I have to attack and let it time out. No. I want you to leave combat. So I can look at the idle. Alright, combat doesn't look bad. Anyway, can I harvest something and change weapons? It goes back into combat. How do I get... How do I get out of combat? I don't remember. Armed tree goes to idle tree when the weapon type equals 0. But that's not always the case, is it? I guess it's just when the game loads. So anyway, I guess what we really want to be looking at is harvesting then, isn't it? Because this is the same thing here. So okay, let me put this one on here as well. Harvesting, run. Whoops. Harvesting, run. Forward. You know, the holding of the item looks a lot better, and I did want to see if it's looked like it was kind of going into my face. Oops. And I guess I wanted to do that with my sword, didn't I? But I can't. It's really just the foot movement and the head bob that I don't like. Just doesn't look silly. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It does look better than the axe going right through your torso constantly. Well, let's plug them all in and take a look, because that's actually only the forward vector. You do want to get them all in there if you're going to do them. Run forward left. That should be this guy. We're looking at the harvesting tree, right? Why am I even using unarmed? Isn't there a crafting, animation, harvesting dealy? No? Maybe yes? Carry, push, chair, chop, climb, walk. No run for that set, huh? Okay. Keep plugging these in then and see how it looks. Forward, right, run forward left, run forward right. That's this guy, right? Okay, run forward right. And these guys are running to the right, not forward right. Run left, run right. Would be nice if those were named better, but what are you going to do? I guess they are forward right, okay. Walk, 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 walk. Let's take a peek. Got my sword out again. Want to get my tool out. These are speed trees. They're so ugly. I need to fix that. Got my thing out. Oh, look at how silly that is. Yeah, I don't like those. That's why I haven't been using these. And I think one of the problems too really is that I have my run speed increased 160%, but I'm not actually increasing the animation speed. Let's say I had this at 1.6 since I am running at 1.6. Went back into combat mode. Let's hit something again. Is it playing that at 1.6? I don't think it is. Looks like it's the same as it was. And I believe I'm controlling the majority of this by script, so it's probably not going to let me change it. Speed 1.6, for example, is what I want, but I don't think you're gonna let me. So that's kind of really what we want, since I am, just to get your feet to connect to the ground more proper, since I'm at an increased run speed. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. I just really don't like this animation here. I don't have to use that one though. Let's put those ones back, and it blends between them. Let's double check, see how that looks. And we could use. Oh, I don't remember which of these is which. We're using the same ones as idle though, right? Run right. Which one are you? Run right, and then this is actually run right. Run right is diagonal, run R is horizontal, right? Okay. Run right is diagonal. Forward is diagonal. Forward is diagonal. These ones are horizontal. Run left, run right. Okay, so we've changed the forward animation, but we're keeping the diagonal animations. We need to hit something again. Like this. That looks terrible. This looks good. Okay, so yeah, that's basically just not usable. And actually that doesn't look better at all. I don't know why I thought that. Hey. Stop that. All I really did was rotate. Can I do that? Because I would like to get rid of that. Yeah, I did these manually, didn't I? Let's see if I can do that. Okay. Basically what I did here was I took the, there were not diagonal animations, so I just rotated the animations. So, how do I do that? Run forward. Duplicate. RPG character, unarmed, run, forward, we'll say right, and we want to there's a setting somewhere in here that you can just change. How did I do it? I think yeah. Body orientation, root transform rotation. I didn't see that option here. Why not? Should I select the animation? No. Model rig, material, animation, import constraints, animation optimal. You can tell I'm really used to working on this stuff. Psych. Loop time. How come I don't get those options? Root contains root motion curves. Root motion node. I might need to change some of these. Root motion node, none. That's probably what I need to specify, perhaps. Animation compression is off. Forward, right. Set you to none. That didn't give me more options. Additive reference pose, enable to define additive reference pose frame. No. I want more options. Off, no. Animated custom properties are imported, no. How come I don't have... I think I posted about this on the forums too, because last time I tried to do this. Curves, events, mask. No. Do I need to hit apply? There we go. Okay. So it is this guy. Now we're gonna make this guy face to the right. So I want to do 45 degrees. Shift. For this guy, this guy's got 90, this guy's got 45. Okay, minus 45 to get to the right. Root transform rotation. Minus 45. That's going to make him run diagonally instead of facing forward, moving his legs to the side like that, which weirds me out. I think I then did the same thing actually with these guys. Apply, yes. These guys are just going 90 degrees. Yeah, which is what I want. I don't like them facing forward and then running sideways. That just looks really weird. So you, sir, are good. And then I'm going to make another one of you called run right. And I guess, yeah, I wanted this guy to be called run forward diagonal right. How about? And can I actually change this name as well? Unarmed run forward diagonal right. Okay. So I'm going to copy you and apply, yes. Now this guy is going to be not diagonal. This guy is going to be run. There is already a run right, and I don't want to use that, so we'll call him forward right. Let me look at this again once more. Run right is, yeah, this funky sidestep. I don't like that at all. So, run forward right. I made two of them by accident, I think. You are going to be minus 90. And you are going to be forward right. And then we need a run forward lefty. Apply. This guy is run forward left, not 1. Run forward left, and he is going to be 90 degrees. Why was that 45? Forward left should be minus, 90 minus 90. Good. Too many things going on here. Forward, forward right. We're not using you guys anymore. Diagonal right. We now want one of these to be called diagonal left. Like so. And he is going to be at a positive 45. Apply. Let's plug those into the animator. Should still be properly selected, but let's double check. Make sure that we're working on the proper object here, the player. I want to change the harvesting tree animations to run forward, right and left. These guys, Y0, run forward right, run forward left here, and the diagonal left and right. Run forward diagonal right, 2, 2, run forward diagonal left, minus 2, 2, and let's go ahead and plug those into the armed, no, the idle tree. Yeah, armed is fine. We're going to not use these guys anymore, though, because they clip disgustingly. Diagonal left, minus 2, 2. Diagonal right, 2, 2. Forward right, 2, 0. Forward left, minus 2, 0. The armed tree is using all that equipped stuff. Good. Okay, I think we're fine now with that, so I don't actually need these anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. We'll let that recompile while I think about it. Should be good. Another thing that Bob has been asking for a while is to remove weapon stuff. Well, then of course this is gonna change that. Anyway, what he has wanted is for me to turn off weapon and tool models when you're in first person, because they're like running in front of the camera the whole time. But with these updated animations, I think that will actually fix itself. So let's take a peek. Nested object batch deleting detected. What you talking about? Okay, so here's my idle. Sword looks good. Running diagonal, left, right. It's fine. Let's get an axe out. And we now do these kind of things. If you look at her hands, it's like, what are you doing there? Why is your left hand all the way over there? I don't get it. But let's go into first person, and I'm actually tiny, but yeah, that is right in your face like the whole time. That's super annoying. I get that. You know, and is there merit for having it show up while you're harvesting? Nope, not really. Somebody's throwing fireballs at me again. So what if I have my sword out? I'm kind of a small character. I think the camera's not actually getting into my head properly. But yeah, even the sword attack, it just, that's not really necessary, is it? Sword's not really a problem. What if I had my bow out? Bow could be annoying if I was bigger, but it's mostly the tools. I do like those animations better, so I'm glad we did that. However, do we want to do something like player avatar? Wait for Leela. I'm alone. Draw weapon. Draw weapon. Draw. What we're really doing here is weapon equipped 2. Search Beast, thank you for the follow. What's happening? Switch main hand. This is where we pull out the different things that are possible. Either we've got a weapon or we've got one of these. It's going to set these as active. The first thing it's going to do is set everything to false, regardless of what logic goes on afterwards. So really what we could do is something like, we could just add an interrupt in here and say, if you're in first person, don't turn on any of this stuff. And then when we leave first person, we would want it to call so you can go in and out properly, you know. I think that that's fine. Hi, kitty. What are you doing? Meanie wants to see the cats. The big kitty. What are you doing? Is that fine? I'm trying to think. Am I going to run into problems with that? Who's sitting in front of the keyboard? Let's say, I don't think I have a bool set up for that yet. Player camera. It's not mover, is it? I think it's either mover or manager. Mover, free look. First person. Yeah, this is it here. Oh, player input. Camera is first person. So we do have a bool for that on player input. Enter first person, leave first person. So let's say if client dot player input dot is first person, do we just want to break current holding equals start holding? I guess we can do this. I don't really like wrapping stuff in if statements if you can avoid it, but this is kind of what we're doing here. So only don't enable objects anew if in first person, but we are still going to define what we're currently holding so that we know what's going on. And then I guess both when we enter and when we leave, we want to go ahead and call client dot player avatar dot switch main hand. And this is definitely going to be server side when this method is called. This is only camera controls, so client player avatar dot currently, what is it? Current holding. So I can't pass this. I have to pass something into it, but I don't have access to that variable. It's private. I could make it public. I could also add a method server side. This server to client logic is a little funky here. I think this is pretty old. Switch main hand, if we are the local player, we want to call command. That's not really correct. And I guess, yeah. This is Pesky Raven. Thank you for the follow. What's happening? Basically, we're just going to tell the server that we're doing this specifically so that it sends out to all the other clients, including ourselves, could be other players, to update our particular model to be doing this properly. So yeah, this is actually incorrect now that I think about it. We don't want to be doing this right here. Because we have to consider that other player objects could be running this logic. So in other words, I guess we could do it if we said if is local player and we are in first person, or no, let's see, if we're not the local player, or it needs to be and, huh? If we are the local player, wait, yeah, if we're not the local player and we are also not in first person. So in the event that we are the local player and we're in first person, we need both of those, right? If this is not the local player, then we do want to do this. Likewise, if we are the local player but we are not in first person, we still want to do this. Yeah. So if we are the local player and we're also in first person, we don't want to do this. Okay, that's fine. Now, we also, though, want to have a way to do this locally. When we're in first person, when we're going in and out of first person locally. And this is something that doesn't need to be passed through the server. It's just what we're going to be doing on our own. So I think I need to break this off into a separate method. Like this. So you're not going to be RPC. Let's call you local switch main hand, and that's going to have all the actual logic here. So basically, we can just call that from here. But we're also going to allow ourselves to call this manually if we are local and we want to, because we're switching first person. I just don't want to make the client RPC a public void because this is a network operation. So basically, if the server is passing this around to different players, regardless of if it's the local player or not, this can still fire properly. But we now also have the option to call this manually from here. So we can say local switch main hand. And I also want to add a separate constructor where we don't actually pass anything in here, and in that event we're going to use whatever we've currently got holding, and we need to convert that to a byte, which is fine. So these guys don't have to make access of that private data. Local switch main hand, what's the matter? Local switch main hand. Why are you red? Oh, yeah, no, we don't need you, we just need this. That's it there. And we're going to do that here as well. And let's give it a try. Enter first person, leave first person. This is after these booleans are getting set up, so that should work properly. Again, the goal being when you switch into first person, it churns off your weapons so they don't rub in front of your face. But when you leave first person, they turn back on. And if you are in multiplayer, players that aren't yourself won't be affected by you going in and out of your own first person. So even if you're in first person, their weapons and tools will still be visible to you. While exposing as little data as possible, which is just generally good practice. Never did get that second coffee going. It's almost lunch. Wouldn't mind getting one. Let's get that hammer out, or the axe, because those are big and in your face. Okay, so yeah, no, it's still there. Okay, so that didn't work. What happened? Let's look at player input. Close extra stuff down here. Player input. Camera is first person. I don't know why I don't have an in there. 2 years ago I used to try and make everything really short. It just doesn't give you any benefit to do that. So it knows we're in first person. So I wonder if I got that and or logic wrong. And I guess we could have checked that this is actually firing properly, but I'm pretty sure it is. Leave first person. If we are not the local player, don't do anything. That's fine. We are the local player. This is updating properly, so we think that this is all firing. Local switch main hand. We're just going to use what we're currently holding. Oh, if current holding does not equal start holding. Okay. So that is going to prevent all of this from firing, which we don't want. Let's go ahead and do local switch main hand. I'll just do bool force equals false. So by default, we're not going to force it, but in the event that we're doing a local switch, which again is only being called from the player input in and out of first person camera, we're going to go ahead and call this true. So we're going to force it. And then we can say if force or we're doing something different here. That way it'll trigger. And if, yeah, that should work. Let's go ahead and recompile that and try once more. Because this logic would, in fact, where was it? This guy would prevent that from firing, as we just saw. Human error, 99.9% of the time. But once in a while you get something right. Let's see, we improved running animations. Should I just say changed? I'll go ahead and say improved. Oh, we got errors firing off like crazy. What's going on? Main UI, update inventory. Did I have something selected that I shouldn't have? What happened? Did it try to fire while this was empty or something? Currently holding equals null. Switch main hand. Currently holding. What happened? Player avatar 374, 390. 390 tried to get here. And we don't have player input set up yet, probably, is what happened. Just when the player's loading, it has to load things in tandem. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm going to have to look that up. I don't actually know what tandem means. Because I don't live in an English-speaking country. Having two things arranged one in front of the other. Yeah, that's basically correct. Player manager has to load. Actually, I think I moved most of this to player client, which is under multiplayer. Player client has to load everything in some kind of an order. You know, it can't do things all at once. So it's probably loading input. Where's player input? You, sir, are getting loaded. Prior to player avatar, I think is what we want. I think that's what's going on. Player avatar does do quite a bit of stuff very quickly, though. Player avatar, get component. I think we just need to move this up here, basically. I've got them in alphabetical order currently. player avatar, assign, update, yada yada. No, this isn't actually calling logic. Void start. They should be all grabbed quite immediately. And this could be firing preemptively though. Let's follow that logic train again here. Player client 224. Initialize player components 546. Gets to player input setup. So it's actually input that's triggering this. So player input is grabbed. We're loading it. Player input 38 makes it to enter first person, which is going to call this. We made it to here. What was the actual error? 390. 374 went to 390 and had an error. Okay, I guess we haven't called start here yet is the problem. We don't actually have the client figured out, huh? We're using void setup client. So this hasn't triggered yet, I think is the problem. Who calls user? You probably are waiting for the player. Yeah, I'd try to not use awake and start pretty much ever, just because then you still have to go in and manually organize those things. I'd like to put, like I've got here on most of these scripts, is a setup. I do a public void setup, and then I call these manually in the order that I want to, just to make sure that I've got kind of a stricter control on things. Player avatar is kind of multiplayer dependent though. This gets sort of purposefully delayed in waiting for the avatar recipe to be passed down from the server in most events, and even single player just kind of mimics that. So I think that this reference is really just not getting called soon enough. You know, and to be honest, there's really no reason that this shouldn't just be serialized. I'm trying to think. Is it just something I've never done? And, you know, there's no reason to not do this, because the prefab is always going to be an instantiation where these are not moving. There's no reason to not do this. It's like I say, it's just scary to take a new step when you haven't do something. But I believe that will fix our problem. Yeah, I do still use update a lot. And I did run a test once for myself just to see grabbing an array of all the objects that want to update and manually calling update on them rather than letting Unity do it. And it was actually faster to reference and then have, you know, some sort of like a manager object calling them one by one through just like an array loop. It was actually a little bit faster that way. You needed to have them all on a single object though. I remember I tested a couple different ways of doing it. There were some weird, like, I put all the monster AIs on a single object, and then actually only reference the objects themselves rather than giving each object its own AI and referencing the AI. So there's different ways to get a little bit of extra performance, but that was like 10,000 objects at once for, minor improvement. So I just added to player avatar. Let's go ahead and open the prefab. This client reference here. So see, there's no actual reason for this to need to find itself. It's just something I didn't do in the past and have kind of stuck to as the way that the game is written. So like I say, when you do something for the first time, it kind of makes you scared. But I don't think there's any logical foundation behind that fear. Should work just fine, multiplayer or not. We're just instantiating player objects. It's going to keep a reference to that prefab regardless. As we can see, the error is gone. So I don't have my sword, and then I do, and then I don't, and then I do. I think that is all we were trying to do here. We'll give it a try with the axe, and yeah. So now I don't have the axe in my face while I'm running around in first person, which Mike Bob has been asking for a long time. It also is no longer clipping through the body when we run because of the new animations. Likewise the sword. Alright, I'm going to pause, make sure I write that down. Improved running animations so that weapons, tools do not clip through the player, and disabled weapon tool models. Let's say equipped weapon tool models when in first person. Alright. And thank you. Fixed for next patch. "15 minutes to lunch." What else we got? "Cold to effect persists after leaving floating islands." Ooh, that's no good. This is marked as critical. This is marked as blocker. What is this? "Loot chests randomly and frequently blocking ladder hatch access." Let's see if we can look at this one real quick. 15 minutes, probably not enough time, but that is a bummer. And I have logic set up specifically so that it won't do that, but it's clearly not working. You wrote "quipped" instead of "equipped." Where did I write that? I did, thank you. Disabled equipped. Thank you. Are you a developer yourself? Kinchkrix? Just a hobbyist? That is World Encounter Dungeon Generator? Or is it up here? Dungeons, there we go. Dungeon Creator. Yeah, this is the correct one. We're talking about vertical dungeons. Generate room by room. This is our vertical dungeon generation script that connects blocks together and adds doors and ladders and hatches to connect the rooms. One of the 3 different generation styles I've got in the game. And it's supposed to record let's look for hatch. Spawn hatch ladder. Spawn wall ladder. So hatch ladder is the problem. Well, these are fine, really. I guess the problem is when we get a chest on the hatch. So, server only, treasure, boss room, chest found, chest spawned. No. If the chest has not been spawned, we're going to spawn it. We're going to position it. Treasure space. Get open position. Get open position is going to attempt to find unoccupied spaces. And unoccupied spaces. Generate unoccupied positions based on the room. Okay, so it's not taking into account hatches. I thought it was. So it's just literally generating this list based on the size of the room when we go to decorate it. And it's just making sure that it doesn't put the treasure and a boss and other things like monsters on the same space. So we need to make sure that it understands where floor hatches are existing. So let's look for hatch again. Spawn hatch ladder. No, we need spawn hatch. This is ladder hatch. Ladder wall. Spawn upward door. I guess that's what I'm calling it. Wood hatch. There it is. So user spawn upward door is only called in one position. Handle possible upward doors. Do we have the room number here? Dictionary int, list 3 int, door dictionary. I haven't touched this stuff in over a year. I kind of don't remember what a lot of this is. Handle possible doors. Is that the room number? I think that's the room number and positions. Who calls you? Possible upward doors is getting populated here using the room number. Okay, so that's what I wanted. Each, room number. That makes sense, right? Add possible door. Handle possible doors. Eventually we get to the point where we've got spawn upward door. It's only in one position, right? This is where the actual hatches get spawned. So we want to make sure that northeast, southwest direction. We're passing in all of the possible upward door positions dictionaries, which contain all the data of the rooms and possible door positions. And then we're doing a for loop through the door dictionary count. I'm confused how I'm doing a for loop through a dictionary. I mean, I can, but why am I doing this? Anyway, so we're going through all the rooms. In the door dictionary, we are grabbing a random index out of the list, and we are using that to spawn our upward door. This is happening per room. Remove possible roof doors to prevent ladder conflicts and spawn a wall. Remove the door slot used. Spawn remaining ceilings. That's fine. All we need to do is mark the fact that we have spawned a hatch at this position at this door, or at this in this room. So I need something like room settings, dungeon sizes, blah blah blah. Just gonna add something down here to say we need the integer of the room and the position. So it's basically an int 4. Do I have an int 4? I do. Okay. Let's say a list of int 4s, and we'll call them, is there a vector 4 int? Vector 4 int. I don't think there is. Vector 4 int, yeah. But I do have an int 4 that I wrote. So, list of int 4s. This is going to be our hatch positions. And we're going to say hatch positions dot add new int 4. It's going to be room number n at door spot XYZ. So when we go to spawn the treasure chest, we now want to make sure that we don't just get an open position. Generate unoccupied positions. I suppose we can add it in here maybe. Dungeon room. Unoccupied positions is a new list. For, yeah, it's just doing the min max on a 2D plane XZ, but we want to do basically a hatch check and say for, should we do an each? For each int 4 in hatch positions, and we want to call that hatch if hatch dot x is equal to the dungeon room number that we are in currently. Dungeon room dot number. No, we don't have a number stored there. Shoot. This is only being called here though. Room dot value. And okay, so let's just pass room.int into it as well, or room.key. Key value pair int room in rooms. Yeah. Oh, that's not a comma, sorry. And the key might have needed to be capitalized. Room number. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to pass the key or the room number as well. So we can say if we're looking at this room that's got a hatch position in it, let's see, XZ. I don't want to for loop that every time I get to a possible position. I want to generate them all. I want to look for possible positions, and then basically I want to remove the XZ, right? Yeah, that should work. I'm thinking there might be their floor and ceiling if we're storing this in 3D, because I've got an XYZ value. But in either case, there should be plenty of unoccupied positions. So regardless of ceiling or floor, I'm going to just remove all instances of the XZ value in the event that there is supposedly a hatch on one of those. So we're going to do new int2 hatch position equals new. Where's my autocorrect? You don't want autocorrect for me? Oh, right. Not new. Sorry. Hatch dot. I guess I should have made W be the room number, huh? Let's go ahead and do that. Since we're storing an XYZ. XYZ will put in as W so that we get, we're not repositioning all of these other values. And then we will use hatch dot W for, no. Yeah, hatch W is the room number, and then our hatch position is going to be an X and hatch dot Z. And then if our unoccupied positions contains that int2, which we do have compare logic set up for it. Since this is a custom class of mine, you can see that I've got equatable stuff properly set up there. So if it contains this, then we want to remove it. Unoccupied positions dot remove hatch position. I'm not sure that that actually is going to work though. Is remove looking for a specific same object, or is it only going to care about whether the values are the same? You know, like is this going to make some sort of a hash comparison, or is it just going to go ahead and say these values are the same, so let's remove it? I don't actually know. Is building the full set and then removing invalid locations faster than checking whether they're valid when adding them? I don't think so. Yeah, that's what I was trying to point out, that if we put the for check, like if we moved this into here, like this, then we would be doing this many times, this many times. So this is going to happen, say, 10 by 10, so we're doing it 100 times. We'd then be checking each of those positions 100 times, maybe 12 right here. So that'd be an extra 120 checks. Whereas if we do it here, we're going to do this 100 times, and then we're going to do this only 12 times. But that is dependent on this line here. Since I don't know the actual answer for if this is using sort of a hash check against the object, or if it's just going to look at the values, the for sure approach would be to do a second for loop, which would be to go through the for int I equals 0, I equals less than unoccupied positions dot count I plus plus. And in this event, we would be doing 100, and we would still be going through these almost completely, but there are rooms that don't have hatches. I think it would actually be the same if I did it this way, either way. Or as you're suggesting, it might be slightly less to do it here, because you would just skip this logic completely and not have to go through them. Kind of the longer answer would really be to test this to make sure that it actually works. So let's do that, because it's lunchtime, but you know, I got 20 minutes to kill, right? Let's write a little script. We want it to be in the editor. We want it to be, let's call it custom remover test. And basically, I'm going to have a public bool run equals false. We're going to use what? Unity editor, right? And then we're going to execute in edit mode. So this script is going to run in the editor, and we're going to say if run, then I want it to fire off my void test method, and we'll set run to false after that. And our test logic is going to be a list. Oops. I need to be using generic. So we're going to do a list of int2, we'll say spaces equals new list, and we'll just plug a number of random ones in here. Let's say new int2 00, comma. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like that. And does that not work? Why am I getting a... Oh, I need to close it. Yeah. So we're going to make a list, and then I'm going to go and make a new int2 separate from that, int2 test int2 equals new one, and we're going to call it 03. And then I'm going to say if spaces dot contains test int2 debug log test int2 found, and we're going to spaces dot remove. This is kind of, it's just the remove. The contains logic I wrote myself, but this is up to the engine, so I'm not actually 100% sure that this is going to do what I want it to do. So I want it to remove this guy, who's not actually test int2, but he's got the same values as test int2. So to make sure that it has done that properly, I'm going to debug, and let's say pre-count is spaces dot count, and then we should be removing one, and now he's going to say post count, and we should find that this has gone down by 1. I'm still in play mode. Let's get out of that. You know, it only takes, it took me 3 minutes to write that, and sometimes you really need to just test stuff yourself, so you can know for sure that you have indeed confirmed your, or, suspicion. We'll make it empty. We will add, what did we call him? Custom class tester, wasn't it? Custom remover test. He's a monobehavior. How come he didn't show up? Custom remover test. Where'd he go? I guess I don't need to add editor there, do I? That was bothering it. If you need editor specific logic, you have to add that, but then it doesn't let you interact with it in the same way. Custom remover test. No, script is an editor script. I'm aware of that, but I still want to use it. Why are you not letting me use it? I guess I need to move it out of that folder. I don't get into this stuff very often, as you can tell. But it'll get mad at me if I try to export a game build with something using that property not in an editor folder. But custom remover test, run, pre-count 5, post-count 4. Okay, so it is properly removing that, so we don't actually have to run this logic here, even though under the hood it's probably still actually going to be doing something very similar by going through and looking for that. Could we do that up here for slightly better performance? I don't think so. Unoccupied positions. Because we would have to go through and create an object for each iteration of that loop in order to run this logic. But again, under the hood, it could be the same, more or less. So, but this works, it's fine. It would be nanoscale improvements. Let me just double check I don't have the logic messed up here at all. We went off on kind of a tangent there. Do I need to recompile? I do. I'll get that going so I can put that back in the editor folder so it doesn't compile with the game itself. So this is how it used to be. We're generating those. That's fine. We're now going to go through all of the hatch positions, assuming there are any, and we're only going to be looking at the ones that are of this particular room that we're talking about, and we are going to disallow unoccupied positions to exist that occupy the same XZ as any possible hot hatch positions. So that should work, and then we're going to pass that back with the now deleted possibilities, making sure that treasures and bosses don't spawn on them anymore. That should be good. Yeah, I've actually got a pinched nerve in my neck, and they told me that I should try to keep my neck warm So I've got this kind of neck warmer thing on. It is chilly in here. My house has very poor insulation, but it's not that cold. And where was that? Camera custom remover test. You need to go back under editor. Like so. This is kind of one of those things that I can't really test necessarily. Do I have I do have a dungeon generator, don't I? I think that I can generate them in a test scene. Encounter test. Encounter spawn test, cave, goblin, undead, encounter type. This guy does not have that included in it though. Procedural, no. Where is that guy? Prefabs. Encounters. Vertical dungeon. I don't think I can just spawn this guy. I remember doing that though. I forget how I did that. Back when I made these, I had it set up so I could just click a button and it would regenerate them in the editor so I could look at them, make sure they were generating properly. Dungeon Creator Script 2. Maybe I have some hidden values in there. Randomized seed. Do I have an update method? Delayed start. No, I must have had a different script that was referencing this. Dungeon AI, I don't think is what I'm talking about. No. I used to have a way to, like say, spam that so it would regenerate them in the editor as much as I wanted, just to test the random generation. But that was like 2 years ago. Oh yeah, here it is. If input get key down R, destroy everything, generate room by room. Is that gonna work? Start is trying to access all kinds of stuff. It's not gonna work. Well, let's give it a try. Why not? We don't need that stuff. Of course, I'm gonna need to... Yeah, I've got a prefab I can drag in here, right? Right here. And let's see, I'm going to turn you off. I'm going to go into... I'm going to turn you off. I'm going to turn you off. I'm going to turn you off. And you're still going to throw errors, but that's okay. No, you're fine. Okay, I'm going to... Oh, you turned yourself off. That's why. And I hit R, and we got an error and nothing happened. 955 spawn floor. Okay, yeah, it's not going to work. It's trying to access the player databases. Well, it was worth a try. So we'll have to leave that up to players to test, and hopefully they won't be running into that anymore, though. I would like to at least go and look at one and make sure it doesn't throw some kind of a new error that I didn't plan for, because that kind of stuff does happen. There's the cat sleeping away the day. I don't think I have a Solace set up to go to one, but I can find one. I've got a chiropractor appointment at 3 o'clock I need to not forget about. Sleepy kitties. Yeah, I'm about to head to lunch too, so have a good night, Kinch Cricks. What do we got? Let's go to this one. North 6 maybe? To the east. No, to the west, sorry. Yeah, and I need to get my animation speed matching my run speed so that I don't float over the ground like I'm kind of doing. It's a nice little vantage. Where's our tower? There it is. Well, this is a tiny one, but it didn't throw any errors. I don't even know for sure if it's got a hatch floor or not. Did I just get fireballed through the wall? No, he's hitting the wall. Okay. He shouldn't actually be trying to fireball me, even though. I'll have to improve that. But here we've got a ladder up. Yeah, I see ya. Ladder up. What? How do I get up there? What? This is a weird one. Was there a back room? Get away from me. There's another room back here. And there is a latch, or a hatch. Anyway, so it should definitely have gone through that hatch logic, even though because it tried to spawn a monster. So we didn't get any errors, so we should be good. At least as far as the big guy in there. Where's the ghost? Is there not a ghost in here? Too small of a... Oh, there he is. Hey, ghosty. Make sure he falls properly. Good. And the chest opened. Okay. So this wasn't a chest hatch combo room that we were hoping for. That guy's got to be a champion, right? Yeah, okay, he was giant. But we did get a hatch in one of the rooms, and there was properly nothing above it, and the new logic executed without erroring, so it should be fine. I started up PoE, I got to level 2. I still don't know what the new league is all about. I got some totem drops or something, so I guess you find... What's the word? When a spell turns you to stone. Petrified. There's like petrified monsters you find, and then you put totems in them, and then they unpetrify with the stats that you put in them, making them more difficult, but allowing them to have more loot, kind of thing. That's what it looked like. I don't know. I only got to like level 2, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. But yeah, got some good. Let me write that down before I forget about it. Fixed what? Vertical dungeons from being able to spawn chests, monsters on top of hatch is supposedly. I don't think the player base would appreciate if I added supposedly, but if it's still a problem, we'll revisit it. Thank you. Should be fixed for next patch. Pending thorough investigation. Hee hee. Alright. Well, I'm going to end the stream here, and I'm going to go get some lunch, and see if I can't fix some more stuff. Monsters drop runes for recipes. Yeah, I don't... Runes for new recipes? I don't... There's always... It's cool, though. PoE's always... It's amazing how much they get done in their 3-month cycles. But yeah, maybe I'll check that out a little bit later. I was playing some Space Engineers. I love those building games. Haven't played it for 9 months, something, so jump back into it. And I will see you in chat, Art and Meanie. Hope you guys having a good night. I'm gonna go eat